conventional wisdom within the storage team. And we've had a few breakthroughs over the last 6 months that are going to redefine how we tier main memory, solid state, and drive across all of our scale-out products. And actually, I saw some performance numbers that are just earlier in the week. I'm not going to quote what the performance numbers are, but it's been a 300% improvement since last November. So, and that's still with a little debug statements in the code for diagnostics. And I think that that's going to be pretty good.
So does that mean spinning disk is going to end up being for nothing more than static data?
I got to tell you that the easy part of my job is to call out technology transitions. The hard part of my job is to call out business adoption of new technology. Right, and hard drives are a $25 or so billion ecosystem in the industry. I used to run the hard drive business in ISS, and I've had a lot of drive suppliers call me to tell us about how you see the migration to solid state. What kind of feedback do you have for us? And I do believe that the era of spindles for IOPS is going to be over pretty soon.
Because you're saying everything's going to be in the blade, everything's going to run out of effectively something like memory in the blade. So the data that's not being used.
Maybe by the time I retire, I don't know.
I don't know how many years you've got to retire.
The timeless model will be that, but right now, don't know. There are examples in the industry of tiered. For example, things that I like. I used to do a lot of energy efficiency stuff. Hard drives, electromechanical rotating media is sensitive to vibration and is sensitive to temperature, right? So customers who want to save energy in the data center, an easy thing for them to do is to raise the ambient temperature of that data center, right? One of the things that keeps them from doing that is the hard drives. So if we can move as much of that, storage to solid state, there's other secondary benefits that customers will like, in addition to performance. So, but there's examples of solid state and low RPM SATA drive type of architecture.
Well, that's the next thing I was going to say, because you just directed us to exactly that. The fact that if you want to reduce the heat and the power, you spin the drive slower. And if it's the static data, in fact, you're going to go the other way. You're not going to have faster drives. You're going to have slower drives, because you might as well just spin it up or spin it when you need it, just to get the data in and out.
And you'll see one of our product lines put out, drive spin down later this year. We don't think that we can wait until the solid state transition, in addition to bringing value inside the x86 servers that we use for energy management. So we work with ISS to do things like, hey, if there are SAS lanes that are not being used, power them off. So the next step is drive management. So drive spin down is a pretty hot topic, no pun.
Which is quite interesting, bearing in mind Copan was sold off for $2 million as a company that not pioneered that, but certainly was well known for that.
Yep, having pioneered a few things inside the company, being first gives you a lot of pride, but sometimes doesn't lead to financial success.
That's true. That's very true.
I have a few scars on my back. But you know what? It's fun work though. It's fun to be first. I've been here 25 years, and the way I look at it is I didn't work hard for 25 years to finish third. So I'm having a lot of fun getting some things out first. We'll see how that goes.
So from an HP's perspective, I know converged infrastructure has, I'm sure it has a very extensive roadmap and aggressive roadmap, I would rather say. How do you look at companies like Dell, where they're trying to buy services company, they bought Equalogics, any other acquisitions, look at Oracle buying Sun, and then you look at EMC forming an alliance with Cisco and VMware to form VCE, Acadia. How do you look at these models? Is that something that you see is actually the future of this industry? Or do you still see small storage companies, new innovative ideas come out from somewhere else that is going to drive this market?
Well, what history would tell you is that there will always be a startup ecosystem, right? I mean, but that said, maybe the half-life of those startup concerns will be shorter, because the feedback that we get from customers is that at the end of the day, they want to manage their business more so than managing their IT infrastructure, right? Unless your business is IT, right? They'd rather manage their business than manage their IT infrastructure. And outside of all of the advancements that have happened in the industry, inside of HP, outside of HP, IT is pretty complex. It's complex from a technology perspective. It's evolving fast, and also it's driving cost, inside our customer accounts in terms of operations. So you couple that with the recent economic downturn, and typically when those downturns happen, when the market is strong and people are making money, no one thinks about changing their business model. When the market goes down, a lot of people contemplate their navel and it's like, why are we on this planet? What really is our set of strengths as a company? Where should we be playing? And you see business models start to change. Oracle bought Sun. They appear to be on a vector of being vertically integrated, but it seems like their main focus is to compete against IBM, right? Relative to some of the comments that I've read around de-emphasizing x86 and emphasizing their custom Spark line, right? So that's, from my perspective, they're going after more of a, legacy enterprise customer. What they're competing against is P-Series in their minds. Dell, with the caveat that I have a lot of friends that work there, just like all of us, I think that they're staring at our tailpipes. And
they certainly seem to be copying every move HP makes.
Yes. So
Move this way.
Yeah.
But you know what though? You can have a business model that is to be first. You can have a business model that is to be a fast follower. What you cannot afford to do is to be a slow follower. So from that perspective, a fast follower business model is viable. But clearly, I mean, if you look at what happened recently, HP buys CDS, Dell buys Perot, Xerox buys ACS. And those were snapped up pretty quick. Dell bought EqualLogic, we bought Left Hand. We bought iBricks, they bought XNet. So everyone is building the assets to have converged infrastructure. So I think the devil's going to be in the details of how to implement it. EMC, I think everyone is realizing, whether it's EMC or Dell or Cisco or HP or Oracle, that being a pure play provider of a category is necessary but not sufficient to compete in tomorrow's market. And that's, I think that will be the new rule of the game. Now for us, maybe this is my closing comment, because you're giving me the death stares.
Can you get out the hook?
The philosophy for converged infrastructure for us is we will have strong categories, standalone categories in storage, in networking, and in compute with strong management. And we're defining converged infrastructure compliance standards so that each of our business units can feel free to evolve at the pace they need to, but we know that we'll be compliant with the CI roadmap. And that is the investment protection for customers, because they can feel free to buy Storageworks or ISS products and eventually build up to a converged infrastructure that includes our stuff and other people's stuff as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this.
We did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm more than happy to do anything else.
Thank you.